The perimeter alarms hadn't stopped wailing for 3 hours straight. Aiden cursed under his breath as he checked the defense grid display for the 14th time. Outpost Kepler 7 was supposed to be a quiet posting, a monitoring station on the edge of charted space where nothing ever happened. The kind of assignment that looked good on a resume without requiring actual combat experience. That was before something started triggering the motion sensors every night for a week. Still nothing on thermals. Ava called from her station, her dark eyes scanning multiple screens simultaneously. As the outpost's senior xenobiologist, she'd been recording every sensor ping, every anomaly, building a profile of whatever was circling their position. Whatever it is, it's smart enough to avoid our kill zones. Aiden grabbed his pulse rifle and headed for the airlock. I'm going out there. Negative. Ava's voice was sharp with authority. Protocol says we wait for the relief team. Relief team is 6 days out, and this thing is getting bolder. Aiden checked his weapons charge. Besides, if it wanted to attack, it would have already. This feels like something else. Ava studied him for a long moment, then sighed. Fine, but I'm coming with you, and we're staying linked. She tapped her comm unit. No heroics, soldier boy. The planet's surface was a nightmare of obsidian formations and sulfuric winds. Kepler 7 orbited a dying star, its atmosphere a toxic soup that would kill an unprotected human in minutes. But that's what made it perfect for humanity's early warning network. Nothing lived here at least. That's what the surveys had said. They'd barely cleared the airlock when Aiden spotted it. A flash of iridescent scales disappearing behind a rock formation 50 meters out. He raised his rifle, but Ava grabbed his arm. Wait, she whispered. Look at the movement pattern. She was right. Whatever it was wasn't stalking them. It was pacing, nervous, the way an animal circles something it's both afraid of and drawn to. I'm going to try something stupid, Ava said, disconnecting her rifle's safety strap and setting it down on the ground. Cover me, but don't shoot unless I signal. Before Aiden could protest, she walked forward, hands visible and empty, her suit's external speakers projecting her voice. Hey there, we're not going to hurt you. You can come out. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, a creature emerged from behind the rocks. Aiden's breath caught in his throat. It was a dragon. Not metaphorically, an actual dragon, though smaller than the legend suggested. Maybe the size of a large dog, with scales that shifted colors in the dim light, wings that seemed too delicate for the harsh winds, and eyes that held an intelligence that made Aiden's combat training feel suddenly inadequate. The creature was thin, emaciated, really. Its scales were dull in patches, and one wing dragged slightly as it moved. But it was those eyes that got him. They held something Aiden recognized from his own reflection during the worst days of his deployment. Desperate, aching loneliness. Oh, you poor thing. Ava breathed, dropping to one knee. You're just a baby, aren't you? The dragon hatchling chirped, a sound somewhere between a bird's call and a cat's meow, and took a hesitant step forward. Then another. It was looking past Ava now, directly at Aiden, as if seeking permission from the one with the weapon. Aiden slowly lowered his rifle, then set it down beside Ava's. It's okay, he heard himself say, his voice softer than he'd used in months. We're the good guys. Promise. The hatchling surged forward, not to attack, but to collapse at their feet, trembling. This close, Aiden could see the extent of its injuries. Burns along its underbelly, what looked like acid scarring on its back legs, and a desperation in how it pressed against Ava's armored leg that spoke of days, maybe weeks, alone. Aiden, look at this. Ava's scanner was out, running bioreadings. Its core temperature is dropping. It's starving and hypothermic. This environment is killing it. Then why come here? Aiden asked, but even as he spoke, he understood. The outpost was the only source of heat and light for hundreds of kilometers. The only sign of life on this dead rock. It was looking for help. We need to get it inside, Ava said, already calculating. But the brass is going to have questions. Lots of questions. Dragons aren't supposed to exist, Aiden. Not real ones. Not in our sector of space. Aiden looked down at the creature. No, the child, shivering between them. He thought about protocols and procedures, about first contact regulations and quarantine rules. He thought about his orders to maintain a sterile outpost free of contamination. Then he thought about the eyes of every refugee he'd ever turned away because orders were orders, and how those memories still haunted his dreams. To hell with protocols, Aiden said, gently scooping the hatchling into his arms. It was surprisingly light, and it curled against his chest with a sound that was unmistakably a sigh of relief. We're soldiers, not monsters. We help those who can't help themselves. That's what being human means. Ava smiled, genuinely smiled, for the first time since they'd been stationed together. You know, for a grunt, you occasionally say something profound. She picked up both rifles. Come on, let's get our new friend warmed up. I'll handle the paperwork. After all, if we're going to get court-martialed, might as well make it memorable. As they walked back to the airlock, the hatchling's scales began to brighten, shifting from dull gray to deep emerald. It chirped again, this time with what Aiden could have sworn was happiness, and extended one small wing to touch his helmet faceplate. A gesture of trust from a creature that had every reason to fear. Behind them, the toxic winds of Kepler-7 howled across the obsidian wasteland. But inside the airlock, as Ava initiated the decontamination cycle and the hatchling finally relaxed in the warmth, Aiden felt something he hadn't experienced in his years of service, the absolute certainty that he'd done the right thing. Sometimes humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its weapons or its ships or its relentless expansion across the stars. Sometimes it was simply in the choice to extend a hand to someone or something in need, regardless of the cost. The galaxy was vast and often cruel. But tonight, in a forgotten outpost on the edge of nowhere, 2 humans and 1 lonely dragon hatchling proved that kindness could survive even in the coldest reaches of space. And that was the most human thing of all.